Hello again, beautiful artists, and welcome back to another episode of Paint Along with Skye. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Skye, and I post beginning level acrylic tutorials here on YouTube every Saturday. So hit subscribe if you'd like to join the fun and paint along. Hit the bell icon to be notified when I post a new video. So this week we have a beautiful cherry blossom, sort of Japanese inspired, springtime welcoming, very beautiful and super fun and easy to paint acrylic tutorial for everyone today. And the colors that I'm going to be starting with just for the background step, really simple. I'm just starting out with a primary blue, black, and white. I have my 3 standard brushes for this tutorial that I like to use. So I have my 1-inch wash brush. I have a size 6 pointed little round medium-sized brush here, and then a small detail brush as well. I'm gonna get those in my water cup off the side of the screen. Check the description box below for a full materials list of everything that you'll need to paint along each week. Okay, let's go ahead and jump in with our background step today. We're going to do a beautiful blue sky with a little bit of thunderhead clouds, and we're also going to create our mountain in this step as well. So let's start from the top, and we're going to use our big brush with a little bit of water, and we're going to start by making a beautiful sky blue. So just blue and white together there, getting that soaked into the bristles of the brush, and then we're going to just do a stripe of that blue color across the top part of our canvas here, back and forth, long brush strokes, getting it nice and filled into the canvas texture. Okay, then we're gonna work our way down a couple inches here, a little bit of water always in that paint helps it go nice and smooth. We want to have a fair amount of blue sky here, so I'm actually going to do a little bit more paint here. Nice and vibrant, like a clear, sunny day with spring on the way. If you're painting along today, I would love to see your art over in the Art Club, which is a Facebook group that I designed for my students specifically to share their work, whether it be from painting along with me on Saturdays or from your own studio and imagination. We'd love to have you over there. Check the description box below to join that as well. Now that I have a nice big strip of blue here, I'm going to start lightening my blue with a little bit of white. So I still have sort of a light blue here. I want to make sure that I do get enough contrast later for my mountain. So I don't want to go all the way to white yet. All right, so we're just going from a beautiful, vibrant sky blue to a slightly lighter sky blue. And we are blending these colors together. Now, don't be shy. Come all the way up into the other color and we'll go over that area, back and forth to get the colors to blend. And this is called a gradation. We are gradating here from a light blue to a lighter blue. Back and forth, nice and blended. I think I'm going to take a little bit more of this vibrant blue and go just across the top here too, just to make it even more vibrant of a sky. There we go. See, I'm getting that nice gradation here. With acrylic paint, it's all about layering. So you can add some more blue to certain areas or add some more white if you need to. Okay, now I'm almost at the bottom here. A little bit more light blue. Because I want to get almost all the way down here to the bottom part of my canvas before I add some of my clouds. And my clouds are going to kind of frame my mountain beautifully. So I don't need to go absolutely all the way down. Once I'm pretty much like 90% of the way there, I am then going to load my brush up with some white and create some thunderheads that come from either side, kind of framing where our mountain is going to go. And this is some wet on wet blending right into that wet blue. So you're gonna get a little bit of blue blending into your white, and that is the idea here. Okay, and you can always add a little bit of clean white later if you'd like it to be a little bit less all blue. And the more you blend, the more you are going to get it all one solid color. And that's not what we want here. We want a little bit of variation in the lightness here. And you also don't want to have too matchy-matchy of clouds, okay? So natural, kind of scribbly, really subtle. You can also have totally different clouds too. Just keep that in mind too. It doesn't have to be these thunderhead types. It could just be some streaky clouds, or you could just even keep it a nice sky blue day and not even worry about that. Okay, now we're going to take our mountain and we're going to go right in the center here. Let's go ahead and use our medium-sized brush for that. And we are going to mix up a beautiful gray blue. So we're going to take a little bit of black and a little bit of blue, mix it with some white. That's pretty close, a little bit on the dark side. I'm going to add a little bit more white and a little bit more blue for our base mountain color here. A little bit more white. Just playing with these background colors, really simple colors today. And we actually don't even need to let this dry. We can go right in here with this gray blue. So again, that was blue, black, and white together. And now I'm going to go pretty much dead center here. I want to have a big mountain. Okay, this is sort of the focal point, but also it's sort of the cherry blossoms. And we're going to have a slightly flat Mount Fuji here. And coming down here on the other side. And then you're just going to fill in this mountain in the direction of kind of like a triangle here. You're just pulling through that white in the clouds, and it's no big deal. Kind of using that to help us get some variation here in our gorgeous volcano. Okay, and this is just the base color here of our mountain, and just getting that shape in there as well. All the way down the other side here. Very gentle slope as you come down. Huge mountain here, big old volcano. Up and down, brush strokes. And now that you have it all just one solid color, let's take a little bit of a black added into the gray here, so a darker gray. And we're just gonna come up here from the bottom. We're just gonna start adding a little bit of texture. Like so, up and down. Just a little bit of shadow, and then I'm gonna grab a little bit of white, the little bit that I have left. And I'm gonna just kind of throw in some highlights here as well. We're gonna add snow on this mountain later. Okay, that looks about right. And now I'm just gonna have a little bit of a darker kind of shadow on the outside edges here. Like so. Kind of just giving that mountain some shape. Okay, that looks pretty good. A little bit more white maybe at the top. We're gonna come back and add some snow. We want to let this layer dry fully before we come back and add snow and add our gorgeous cherry blossoms. So let's go ahead and let this dry, and we'll come back in a few minutes and add a whole bunch more. I'll see everyone in a few. Okay, and we're back with a dry background and fresh colors. I have two little areas of white because I know I'm going to use a lot of white in the second half of the painting here. A little bit of black, and to make my brown, I have three colors that I'm going to use, which is mostly orange, a little bit of blue, and a little bit of yellow. I also have red here to make my cherry blossoms. I rinsed my brushes and got fresh water at break. Let's go ahead and jump in now with the branches. Going to do that with my medium-sized brush. We're also going to use our baby brush a little bit, our tiny little detail brush a bit there as well. So I'm going to mix up a brown. And keep in mind that if brown is a little bit tricky for you to mix up, you can just buy it right out of the bottle as well. But I'm going to just take orange and mix in a pinch of blue. And then a little bit of yellow and some black and white. I should get a pretty decent brownish beige color, like so. That looks pretty good to me. I think a little bit more gray, black and white together. All right. A little bit of water in there to help it go nice and smooth. All right, that looks good. Now getting that loaded up into the brush, and we're going to create these branches sort of on a diagonal. So we want to fill all of our blossoms in sort of this space right here. So we're going to keep that in mind as we create our branches. I'm going to have one that kind of comes up here in the kind of top part of my composition, and then one that kind of comes from a little bit lower, and maybe one that comes from a slightly different angle a little bit further down too. So that way we have a good diagonal kind of layout there of our branches. Now I'm just gonna go back and fill it in a little bit. Just these main big ones. And then I'm actually going to grab my detailed brush and do the smaller branches with that one. A little bit more control there, a little bit easier. Just gonna have a few branches come off from either side here, like so. Graceful, a little bit wiggly kind of at the ends here. That looks about right. And coming up off this direction, like so. And your tree is gonna look a little bit different than mine, and that's okay. Everyone's is gonna look a little bit different. I'm gonna have a little bit thicker branches here at the base, like so. Just gonna look like branches for now, not gonna be that picturesque until we put blossoms on them. I think one more kind of coming up off the side there would look nice. A short one, maybe coming down this way. And how about a few more little baby ones like so. Okay, that looks good to me. Then I'm gonna grab a little bit of white and mix up a lighter brown. I'm gonna come in here just a little bit and add a little bit of a highlight through those branches. A little bit of wet on wet blending. Very gently, like so. Just creating a little bit of depth on those branches. A little bit of highlight. Very gentle. Okay. And last one down here. Doesn't really need to be exact placement. Just want to get that light color on there before the other color is too dry. Okay, that looks good. Let's do the kind of opposite direction now with a little bit of a shadow color with a darker brown, almost black, and just a little bit here and there throughout these branches as well, like so. Very light-handed, accentuating those branches. Very nice. A little bit up here as well. You might want to go on the kind of opposite side that you put your highlight on, but again, it's not an exact science, truly. Beautiful. Almost almost ready to paint our blossoms, but we are actually going to let this area dry for a bit now. So we got our shadows on. We'll do one more right there. Okay, and we're going to let that dry for a second and go back to our mountain. And you can use your detail brush or your medium-sized brush to add some snow. Take some of this clean white. I'm just going to come into the top part of my mountain here and just pull that white snow down in these sort of long tapered brush strokes. Like so. It's okay if you see a little bit of canvas texture. That's okay, we're working with it today, not fighting it. You want it to fill in all the way to the outside edge here at the top. Then it's going to kind of taper away as you pull the white down. Okay, like so. All the way around the mountain here. Mount Fuji takes on a lot of different shapes because you could, take a picture of it in a lot of different angles. So don't worry too much about your exact mountain. Maybe it's not even Mount Fuji. We have these beautiful, similar looking volcanoes here in the Pacific Northwest, and we certainly get our fair share of cherry blossoms as well. Although this is inspired by Mount Fuji, the original. Okay, bringing that white down here a little bit. Very pretty. Okay, you don't want it to look too neat. That looks about right to me. And then I'm just gonna do a really light shadow, very light-handed, but with a dark color. So a little bit of gray here. Just going to ever so slightly go along the top edge there and do an ever so slight outline. Just so it has some contrast with the blue background. And you can take that gray shadow and add a little bit more shadowing here at the bottom with that small brush if you'd like to as well. So we're kind of highlighting our lightest colors and then also darkening our shadows a little bit too, if you want. There, that looks nice to me. Okay, and now the fun part. We're going to do our cherry blossoms now. So we're going to use our medium-sized brush for this. Make sure it's nice and clean. We're going to mix up a nice little batch of pink for our main color here. So I'm going to take a lot of this red and add just a little bit of white to start with my main cherry blossom color here, which is going to be a very vibrant hot pink. And then to make the blossoms, what you're going to do is you're either going to have 5 little brush strokes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like so, or you're going to do a little bud, like so. Little blossom. Not quite all the way bloomed in each of these little areas, and you get to pick where your blossoms live on your tree and how many are blooming versus how many are not quite there yet. You could even technically add some leaves, but what's so beautiful about cherry blossoms is the whole tree will bloom without any leaves, so it'll just be this gorgeous red, pink, shades of white. So pretty. And now I'm gonna kind of work in one of these little areas at a time. And then before I go on, because I don't want this area to dry too much, I'm gonna take a little bit of white on my unwashed brush, and I'm going to come into each of these little brush strokes again, and I'm going to add a light pink white color right on top. And we're gonna get some really pretty wet on wet blending. Some areas are gonna be lighter than others, and your brush is eventually going to blend all the way to a really light pink. And that's okay, that's what we're gonna do, one area at a time here. So In the cherry blossom parts, I've done those 5 brush strokes again on top of the pink with the really light pink, but here on the buds, I'm going to do just a little bit of light pink kind of at the end here and give them some beautiful contrast there as well. So pretty. And those aren't connected yet to the branch, and that's okay. We're gonna come back and do that. So fun to do. Okay, and then you can kind of go into the next area and do the same thing. Again, you get to choose how to build each one of these little branches. You don't need to go brush stroke by brush stroke with me if you don't want to. A little bit here and there, so pretty. So I'm gonna do maybe one blossom right here, like so. Just one little brush stroke for those buds. So pretty. Okay, and then again in each area, you want to then take some white and go back into each of those little brush strokes. This is such good dexterity practice. One brush stroke at a time. Patient, soothing, satisfying. Very fun to do. Beautiful. Pulling it in, making sure that you have wet paint here that you're working with. Otherwise, you're not going to get that nice blending effect. So pretty, right on the ends there. Rinsing my brush again. And just working from the top down here, right next little area. A little bit too much water. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Such a relaxing painting to do. 4, 5. And let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You don't want to cover your mountain. I did that in my first composition and I was sad. So you want to make sure that you have your mountain kind of poking out still, as if you lined up a beautiful photograph, very deliberately. And this is early February right now, so this would be, I think, about when the cherry blossoms do start popping up. So pretty. 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like so. And a few, you can have kind of 3 on the end, looks really nice. Like so. Pretty. Maybe one more over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. I think actually one more right here. I kind of want to fill in that space a little bit. Make it look nice and lush and pretty. Okay, that looks about right to me. Very pretty. Working quickly here, making sure my paint's not drying all the way, so that I can get that nice effect. It was a little bit too light. So you can always add a little bit more red, kind of balance it out a little bit if you want and if you need, but you gotta be careful because it will overblend. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 little brush strokes. Just creating dimension. Beautiful colors. And then right on the ends, each one of these as well. Okay, very, very pretty. Let's grab our tiny brush again. We're gonna do a few more little details to get this all finished. My goodness, how pretty is that looking? Let's grab a little bit of our brown again. We're gonna attach each of those little buds now back to the main branch. Got a little bit too much water there. You kind of soak it up again with your brush. If that happens, like so. Okay, just taking a little bit of that brown and just attaching to the bottom of each of those buds as you created your beautiful composition. Okay, just connecting them like so. Okay. And we are actually nearing the home stretch, believe it or not. I think for how realistic this does look, for how simple it is to create, I just think it's a really fun painting for beginners and intermediates alike. Okay, making sure we don't have any floating little flower buds. Okay, so pretty. And then the piece de la resistance here, we're going to take a little bit of black, and on the inside of each of our cherry blossoms, we're just gonna add a couple dots. And you can do that with the front of your brush or the back of your brush. Either way, I find that the front of the brush is a little bit easier since we're working with wet paint. If you use the back of the brush, you will get a nice circle, but sometimes it can take up a little bit of the wet paint. So this time I'm gonna use the front of my brush like a normal person. And I'm just gonna add a little bit of black dots here to be the little pollen ends of my open blossoms. So pretty. A little final touch there. Just love how that looks once it's all finished. Like so, little dots in each of the open flowers. There we go. Very gentle hand here. Just the last little finishing touches on our Mount Fuji and cherry blossoms acrylic tutorial today. I do hope you enjoyed. Please hit the thumbs up button if you liked this painting. I would love to see you over in the art club, and that is all the instruction that I have for everyone today. So until next time, stay creative.